Last week, to end the week, we started off chapter 5.3, which is what this is, 5.3, but this is day 2 of 5.3. Remember last time we talked about 5.3, I taught you about finding points using the values of 0 and 1 for x, and then we plotted the points and we graphed. Now that is a last resort call. What you're going to find out is over the course of this week there's a much easier way to graph lines. Just make sure you're following along with what's going on so you understand it. Again, I don't know if I said it in the last video, but if you do not follow me every single day, then by the end of this week you are going to be lost. If you follow me every day, then it can be a very easy week for you, so please make sure you are asking for help. If anywhere in this video I say something that loses you, just hit pause, bring the sheet over, because you do have a sheet for this, and ask me about whatever it is that you don't understand, and I can try to help you understand it better. But you have to do the work to understand it, otherwise you're running the risk of starting to fall behind. Anyway, this is going to focus on what we call slope-intercept form of an equation. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. You might want to mark this on your page also. You're going to be using this all week. In this equation, m and b represent two different things. Today we're going to focus only on m. So tomorrow we'll look at b, but because we have the luxury of moving a little bit slower, today we're going to focus only on m. The slope of an equation, as we learned, is also the rate of change. It's also the common difference. The two words are used a lot in algebra, so be sure to get used to them. If you're asked for the rate of change, it's the same thing as being asked what is the slope. It's the same thing as being asked what's the common difference. In the slope-intercept form, m represents slope, so it's just a variable that represents slope or rate of change or common difference. Since it is directly in front of you, there is no need to move any values or to simplify. If the equation is in slope-intercept form, we can find the slope very easily. Look at the following questions right here that you have on your sheet. So looking at this, it says, what is the slope of the equation y equals 5x plus 3? Since y is alone, it means that it's slope-intercept form, so y equals is always slope-intercept form, which means it's y equals mx plus b. We know that m in the slope-intercept form is attached to x, so whatever is attached to x is the slope. And here's what's marked on your page. Notice you have a y, you have a equals, you have a x, you have a b. This number is in the m's location, so the slope of the equation is 5. It's that easy. If I'm asked what the slope is, and I know that slope represents m, or that slope is attached to x, I simply have to say what is attached to x, and simply use that number. That is the slope or the rate of change or the common difference, whatever you would call that at the time. That's how easy it is. What is the rate of change of the equation y equals 2/3 x plus 7? Again, y is alone, notice, so this is slope-intercept form. M represents slope. We look to see, again, y is here, equals here, x and b is here, so it means that the number that's replacing m is 2/3, and because of this we know that the slope of this has to be 2/3, and we know that slope is the same as rate of change, which means that rate of change is also 2/3. Now hopefully you are starting to attach those two things in your memory as the same thing. Slope and rate of change mean the same thing, just like everybody has nicknames. A nickname for slope is rate of change. Another nickname for slope is common difference. All those things mean the same thing, so kind of keep that in mind as you work. Slope is also used in graphing equations. You can simply remember it as rise over run. Remember we did that last week also. When graphing, rise determines how far up and down. The run determines how far to the right. Again, you want to underline this part, that we always run right. Don't ever go left whenever you're doing your rise over run. You will always go right. Kind of like how you write in a paper. You will never write your name going this way, which is just backwards. See how my name Rashad Dasser? Nope, it's Rashad. It goes this way. R-E-C-H-A goes that way. And so that's the direction you will always run whenever you're doing your lines. This means that we can go up or down, but we'll either go up and right or we will go down and right. We will never go up and left, down and left. So let's look at some examples real fast of how you're going to use it in today's lesson before we get ready to move on. So what you will see is that you'll have a point on a graph, and you're going to use the slope of whatever they give us to fill in more points and then connect it with a straight edge. So 1/2 is the slope we want to use. So remember, kind of like playing Chutes and Ladders or any other game, Monopoly, from here, if it's 1/2, that means rise 1, which means up 1, and it means run 2, which means 1 right, because it's positive, and it means, 1 up, 1 up because it's positive, and 2 right because we always run right. So again, slope of 1/2 means go up 1, there's your 1. So up 1 over 2, put a dot. From there, up 1 over 2, put another dot. From there, up 1 over 2, put another dot. From there, up 1 over 2, again 1/2, here's your 1, there's your 2, and that's as far as I can go before I jump off of there. Remember again that you can make a straight edge from any piece of paper, or I do have rulers in the back of the classroom, and all you have to do from there is draw a line that goes all the way across that grid through those dots, and that is it. Okay? So that is the second thing you're going to be asked to do again, is to take the point and use that slope to fill in as many points as you can across the grid. Again, always going to the right. Don't worry about going off to the left, but always going to the right of following whatever slope is there. Work this next one out with me. Again, it says given the point, use a slope of -3/2. Again, -3/2 using rise over run means you rise -3, always put the negative on the top, and you run 2. This means 3 down and 2 again, always right. Alright, so from here, again, 3 over 2 means down 3, right 2, dot. Down 3, right 1, 2, dot. Down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, dot. Down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, dot. There's no more space to go down, which means that I've done as much as I can do on that. And so now the last thing I do is connect this with a straight edge as best as I can all the way across the region. And that is what you're going to be doing. Okay? So outside of identifying the slope, you're going to be asked to actually complete the rest of the slopes that are there. Last one is kind of a trick problem. It says given the point in the graph, use a slope of 2 to fill in more points. Keep in mind that whenever you have a whole number, that whole number as a fraction is just over 1. So again, if I said slope of 2, you want to probably rewrite 2 as 2 over 1, which again means rise 2, because that's positive, run 1, which means 2 up, because it's positive, and 1, again, right, because we always go to the right. If you have to write this down for yourself, that's fine. It's whatever you've got to do to get this understood. So again, go from here, it's rise 2, run 1, so up 1, 2, over 1. Rise 1, 2, right 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 1. And from there again, connect your points with a straight edge as best as you can all the way across that region, and that is what we're looking at. So again, be sure to practice answering each type of question. If you're having any issues with the variable m, please understand that the lessons are going to start getting tough, so make sure that by the end of the day you understand what m is. You understand that m is attached to x, and that's whenever y is by itself, and that the number there represents your slope. So if I said what's the slope of an equation y equals 3x minus 4, your slope is 3. If I say what's the slope of y equals 2/5 x minus 6, your slope is 2/5. Again, your slope is attached to x all the time. That's your m. That's your b we'll talk about tomorrow, but for right now you're looking at just the slope and the number that's attached to x. So go on over to Math Excel, do the questions and get your 100, and then go, when you put your computers up, pick up the practice sheet, which has a lot of questions that you want to get to, especially the ones with the dots on it that you want to practice. These are on your quiz this week, and you want to be ready for those. So other than that, again, make sure you start asking questions of me or people around you, whatever you've got to do to make sure you're ready for the quiz. You did a great job on the quiz last week. Everybody didn't get them right, but they were at least close enough to show they were learning something, and really that's what it's about for me. So good luck.